Good afternoon. I wish I could be with you today at the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce All-Valley Legislative Lunch, but as you might know, I can't be in two places at one time, and the Senate keeps me pretty busy here in Sacramento. First, I want to congratulate the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber and its members for the fantastic job you are doing representing the businesses and the people of the Coachella Valley. Thank you for events like this that bring so many people together to hear from their elected officials and local leaders. My District Director, Glenn Miller, is there with you today, and if you have any questions or concerns, please be sure to speak with him. As you may have heard, it's been a crazy couple of months here in Sacramento. The bill that's received the most attention recently is the $52 billion tax increase that was just signed by the governor. Senate Bill 1 will raise the state tax on gasoline from one of the highest in the nation to the highest in the nation, increasing the price of gas by roughly 19 cents a gallon. I opposed SB 1, and let me tell you why. A lot of folks at home and throughout this state that have to choose between gasoline and food. I have senior citizens that have to choose between drugs and gasoline or food. This bill increases taxes on people of California who already pay the highest taxes in the nation. The bill will immediately add roughly 19 cents a gallon to the gasoline prices. The tax is indexed and is likely to increase every single year. But even worse, it's permanent and has no expiration date. SB 1 will make it more expensive to register your car by an average of $48 a year. The bill will increase the tax on diesel fuel by over 20 cents a gallon, which will hurt our farmers and make it more expensive for all of us to buy food, clothing, and medicine. Who does this tax hurt the most? It won't hurt the rich people who live in the gated communities of San Francisco and Malibu. It won't hurt wealthy people who can afford to live near where they work. My friends, it hurts the poor. It hurts the middle class. It hurts farmers and small business owners. It hurts Californians, especially people in the inland and rural areas like the Coachella Valley, who often have to drive long distances to get to their jobs. We already pay taxes that are supposed to fix our roads. Instead of asking them to pay more, we should make sure the taxes we already pay for road repairs are actually spent fixing our roads instead of being diverted to other social welfare programs. Several senators talked about the courage it took for them to vote in favor of SB 1. I'm not sure how much courage it takes to raise taxes on the poor. Politicians that say they're for the poor, but then they tax them into more poverty. That doesn't sound fair, and it certainly doesn't sound right. One bill you'll be hearing more about is SB 562, Government-Run Healthcare, by Senator Lara from Long Beach. This bill would create a government-run, multi-billion-dollar, single-payer healthcare system in California. It is one of the 23 bills this session, all written by Democrats that have been labeled job killers by the California Chamber of Commerce. According to the Chamber, SB 562 would be financed by unspecified and undeveloped revenue plan that will penalize responsible employers and individuals and raise taxes on all Californians and businesses, including you. Yes, healthcare is a problem in California, but creating a new entitlement that puts healthcare decisions in the hands of the same bureaucrats who can't fix our roads and can't manage our state budget is not the answer. On a positive note, one bill I'm very proud of is my Senate Bill 583, which just passed out of the Senate Education Committee. Some of you might be familiar with this bill since it was one of the key witnesses was Robert Ortega, a senior at Shadow Hills High School in Indio who came up with the idea of SB 583, also known as the California Financial Literacy Act. Every year, I hold a contest where I ask seniors in high school across my district to come up with an idea that can become law in California. I call this contest There Ought to Be a Law competition. After reviewing over 100 ideas, I decided Robert's idea was the one that had the best chance of passing, and it was an honor to meet him and hear his compelling testimony before the Senate Education Committee last month.
But as a senior in high school, myself, including my counterparts, we are going out into the world blind. We are faced with many blind decisions regarding furthering our education, our housing, our transportation, and other living expenses. To be honest, even I'm bewildered by some FICO, stuff like that. That stuff is really important.
The bill is actually very simple. It requires high schools in California to teach students some basic principles on how to manage their money after they graduate. With more and more students taking on massive debt, student loans, car loans, and credit cards to name a few, I thought it made a lot of sense to teach our kids some basic principles that can help them avoid the pain of bill collectors and bad credit. Finally, several of my other bills are slowly winding their way through the legislative process. They include Senate Bill 404, which will provide property tax relief to veterans over the age of 65 and to disabled veterans of any age. My hope is that the Appropriations Committee will let these bills out and be voted on by the full Senate. Also, Senate Bill 644, inspired by the tragic loss of 2 teenage girls who were killed by a drinking boater on the Colorado River, which will require anyone convicted of boating under the influence resulting in the death to face the same penalties as someone driving under the influence of alcohol. This bill has already passed the Senate and is waiting to be voted on in the Assembly. Again, my friends, I wish I could be there with you today, but I want to give my thanks to the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce for hosting the All-Valley Legislative Lunch. It's an honor to represent you in Sacramento, and please reach out to me if I can be of any service to you in the future. Thank you.